Welcome, listeners. This is Ivan Franklin Rose, and this is the one on trust and communication. We're going to cover trust issues, the signs, causes, how to overcome them, and we're going to talk about better communication skills to get through trust issues in relation to that. So in an article in thriveworks.com by writer Taylor Bennett and clinical reviewer Emily Simonian, who is an LMFT, they talk about this very issue, trust issues and causes and how to overcome them. So trust is a subjective way of measuring how much we're able to rely and believe in the honesty and integrity of others. But when our ability to trust others is compromised, we may develop trust issues. Now, I want to take it aside for just a second because the trust we're talking about has many factors. We're going to go over, we're going to review in the article is trust from certain behaviors and backgrounds that we've had growing up that leads us to be distrustful. But trust also encompasses trusting that our partner or friends will do things that they're supposed to do, will do things right that we've asked them to do. This belief that people will come through for us is also a part of trust. So I just want to bring that out. In addition to some of these heavier items we're about to discuss, it's also trusting that what you need from your other partner, friend, other person in your life, your parents even, is going to happen. That trust and belief that you're going to get what you need because they can fulfill it and desire to do so. Okay. So going back to her article, she says some of the signs of trust issues include avoiding commitment in romantic relationships, avoiding close friendships or social connections, and difficulty forgiving small or misinterpreted slights, among others. Trust issues may be caused by adverse childhood experiences, infidelity in adult relationships, gaslighting, or narcissistic abuse from loved ones. Overcoming trust issues is best done with the assistance of a behavioral therapist or a couples counselor, but individuals can take personal steps to communicate their uncertainty, be mindful of their past trauma, and be willing to take the risk to trust again. So trust issues are characterized by fear of betrayal, abandonment, or manipulation. And this fear is often triggered as a result of betrayal, such as infidelity. Abandonment, we think of leaving a child or foregoing a relationship with them, or manipulation, for example, dishonesty or gaslighting in that case. If you're considering this issue, then it's possible that someone you trusted, a partner or parent or even a doctor, mistreated you or let you down. And as a result, you struggle to trust others. Or in other words, you have trust issues. Many people can pinpoint the event or relationship in question, but others struggle. And most, if not all, struggle to overcome their trust issues. However, it isn't impossible. If you're struggling with trust issues, you can work to trust again by following a few steps. But first, let's start from the beginning. What exactly is trust? Trust is the belief in the reliability and truth of another person. Like I was saying before, it encompasses all facts, including that someone's going to come through for you. It is how we subjectively measure the integrity and honesty of others, those who can be counted on to do what is right. However, sometimes we aren't certain who to trust, how much to trust, and when not to trust. So what are trust issues and what are the signs of trust issues? To recap what we said earlier, when someone has trust issues, they have an extremely difficult time trusting others, and often because someone has betrayed their trust in the past. Here are additional signs and symptoms of trust issues. 1, they assume betrayal. Those with trust issues assume someone has betrayed their trust, even if they have no rightful reasoning. Number 2, they anticipate betrayal. People with trust issues often assume someone will betray them soon enough, despite how honest they've been in the past. Next, they're overly protective. Those with trust issues are usually very protective of their loved ones out of the fear that they will become disloyal. They distance themselves from others. People with trust issues decide it's best to limit their relationships to avoid betrayal or abandonment. They avoid commitment. No matter how much they care for someone, people with trust issues refuse to commit. They refuse to forgive even the smallest mistakes. Those with trust issues are quick to make a big deal out of nothing. It's the end of the world if someone makes the slightest mistake. Do you know someone like that? Next, they're excessively wary of people. People with trust issues are extremely cautious and suspicious of everyone they meet. And lastly, they feel lonely or depressed. Those with trust issues isolate themselves from others and feel lonely or depressed as a result. What causes trust issues? Well, earlier we said that trust issues are often caused by an act of betrayal, abandonment, or manipulation. But what are the most common examples of these wrongdoings that lead to trust issues? Infidelity. Again, infidelity is an example of betrayal that can trigger trust issues. Many people view this as the ultimate form of betrayal. While it's possible to repair a relationship after infidelity, often the relationship ends and the victim of the infidelity develops trust issues which impact future relationships. Next, manipulation or mistreatment can cause it. If a past partner or loved one manipulated or mistreated you, you're also at an increased risk for that issue. Examples include dishonesty, gaslighting, passive-aggressive behavior, and keeping you isolated from others. Childhood trauma is next. Adverse experiences in childhood are also likely to cause trust issues. Examples include abuse or abandonment by one or more caregivers, and any traumas relating to your parents, how they treated you, if they belittled you, if they didn't believe in you, can all cause it. Parental divorce or conflicts. If you have divorced parents, you may also be likely to develop trust issues, especially in your romantic relationships. On the other hand, if your parents argued a lot and you've witnessed an up and down relationship, you might have developed trust issues as a result of that. Once someone experiences a betrayal, their trust issues may impact their ability to avoid internalizing that experience. They may blame themselves and feel less confident in the future. This can impact their ability to trust because they may feel undeserving, and instead of fostering a healthy connection, a person with trust issues may be constantly on guard, waiting for the other shoe to drop, so to speak. The importance of trust in romantic relationships. Let's look at that. In most cases, a romantic relationship suffer the most from trust issues, whether they've resulted from betrayal in a former romantic relationship or not. Why? Intimate relationships are based on honesty and openness. The trust that partners have in each other is the glue that binds the relationship, providing a positive emotional connection that's rooted in affection, love, and loyalty. A common cause of trust issues is infidelity. If a partner in a relationship has an affair, the deception and betrayal of trust can be more damaging than the actual affair. The lying erodes the belief in the other person, and the reality is that the partner has another aspect of their life that they've kept secret. A person who didn't develop trust as a child will feel especially vulnerable to infidelity and deception by somebody they loved. So, is having trust issues a mental illness? Well, as a singular issue, it isn't. However, it can be indicative of an actual mental health condition, particularly anxiety disorder, especially PTSD, borderline personality disorders, BPD, paranoid personality disorder, PPD, and lastly, bipolar disorder 1 or 2. These conditions may cause trust issues in relationships because of the way certain cognitive distortions, irrational beliefs, or mood swings may unrealistically change someone's perception of reality and interpersonal relationships. What can be particularly damaging, though, is when a person with a mental health condition that causes trust issues is hurt by a loved one's deception. This can affirm their negative bias and make even harder to emotionally and socially connect with other people, even if they desire to do so. What is a person called when they have trust issues? Well, it's called pistanthrophobia. It's the fear of trusting people or forming significant relationships with them. While it's not a recognized mental health condition in the DSM-5, pistanthrophobia, like other phobias, causes significant mental and emotional distress and usually detracts from the sufferer's quality of life in a significant way. Are trust issues a red flag? Trust issues can be a sign that someone has experienced a significant amount of trauma, But that doesn't mean they aren't working through their past experiences. Trust issues in a relationship can be hard for both partners to overcome, but with adequate support and communication channels, people with trust issues can have healthy, successful connections with partners that aren't ruled by their past. What do you do if you have trust issues in a relationship? Well, dialectical behavior therapy, DBT, is an effective treatment method for people who are noticing continued trust issues in a relationship. So for those wondering how to fix trust issues, finding a mental health professional that they can connect with and receive DBT from is the first place to begin. Partners can also benefit from couples or marriage counseling, where they'll learn new ways to empathize, communicate, and resolve differences and conflicts. But even before beginning counseling or another form of mental health treatment, there are smaller personal ways in which someone with trust issues in a relationship can begin to find healing. So if you want to try to get over it yourself, you'd like to try to heal yourself, here are 8 tips to help you overcome trust issues. Knowing how to fix trust issues isn't always simple. If you have trust issues and it's hindering your ability to build happy, healthy relationships, or it's hindering your life in other ways, then it's time to make a change. Follow these steps if you're wondering how to fix trust issues and take your relationship to the next level. 1, accept the risk that comes with learning to trust again. None of us are perfect. We let people down. Therefore, you must accept the risk that comes with trusting. The reality is that you're going to let people down at some point or another, and you're going to be let down yourself. But that doesn't mean your relationship with that person is or should be over. It's about setting and communicating the right expectations as well as boundaries. Okay. Number 2, learn how trust works. Some people trust until they have no reason to. Others don't trust people until that trust is earned. It's up to you, and when you choose to trust someone, it's perfectly okay to wait for someone to earn your trust before deciding you can rely on them, especially if you're recovering from past betrayal. So, whether you trust people until they give you a reason not to, or you don't trust people until they give you a reason to trust them, you can still look at your method of handling those issues and try to change. Take emotional risks. At some point, you've got to jump in head first, in other words. Allow yourself to be vulnerable and choose to trust, what we were saying before, whether it is at the beginning of a relationship or after they've earned your trust. Number 4, get to the root of your trust issues. Remember, trust issues often stem from past betrayal. If you aren't sure why you have trust issues, do some soul searching. Think about any past experiences that may have caused your trust issues. It's crucial that you understand why you're scared and what you're scared of so you can move on. If you need help doing this, consider working with a counselor. Number 5, communicate honestly and often. Poor communication is one of the main reasons that marriages and other relationships deteriorate. Do your part and continue to be honest with the people in your life. Also talk to them about your hesitancy to trust. Now, the same author, Taylor Bennett, wrote an article a few years before on the 10 communication strategies for you and your partner to implement. The article on trust was written in August of 22. This is January of 18. But I think it's important to emphasize under communication, part number 5, and then we'll come back to the rest of the 8. So her 10 communication strategies are let's say every couple faces adversity before we get to the numbers. Whether it's infidelity, jealousy, insecurity, abuse, a combination of the 4, or something different entirely. It's, in any given case, what's most important is not the difficulty at hand, but how one addresses and solves that issue. I learned this firsthand in a particularly challenging relationship a few years ago, she writes. The two of us were like fire and ice. Sure, it's a cliche, but it couldn't be truer, as we were complete and total opposites. Rarely did we share the same interest, opinion, taste, likes, dislikes, or motivation. As you can imagine, this led to a lot of arguments that were seemingly insoluble. Neither one of us would budge. nor would we merely consider hearing the other person out. We were in serious need of effective communication, and lack of it ultimately led to our relationship's demise. While this was certainly unfortunate for this particular relationship, she writes, we both learned an important lesson, a lesson that has led to her adapting effective communication strategies such as those recommended by Dr. Fran Wolfish, family and relationship psychotherapist, utilizing her following 10 strategies to improve communication with your significant other and, in turn, your relationship in its entirety. So here are the 10. First, use universal statements. Using phrases like you always or you never to your partner raises their guard and defenses because it focuses on what's wrong with the other person, explains Dr. Wolfish. Instead, use I statements that focus on how you feel without blaming or accusing your beloved partner. Next, practice empathy and understanding. According to Dr. Wolfish, oftentimes a partner will focus more so on the articulation of their feelings when they should really be focusing on their partner's feelings. During intense disagreements, you often interrupt or think about your response while your partner is talking. Instead, listen intently without interrupting and try to understand and empathize with your partner's feelings. 3, validate your partner's feelings. Everyone is entitled to their own feelings, so do your best not to criticize, judge, belittle your partner, or minimize the importance of their feelings, says Dr. Wolfish. When a person's negative feelings are not validated, they will likely get more powerful, grow, and create a barrier in a relationship. Be courageously honest is number 4. Dr. Wolfish understands how difficult the truth can be, but this does not undermine its importance. Sometimes the truth is uncomfortable, especially if you know your partner may get angry hearing it. Be brave. Honesty in a relationship is extremely important because it is the fundamental thing that makes a person feel safe. Even if you think truth will be hard to your partner to hear, they will appreciate it in the long run. Number 5, remain open-minded. Rigidity in your partner is a sign of trouble. Instead, be flexible, says Dr. Wolfish. You may think your idea is best, but staying open to the other's opinions is an important ingredient in successful communication. Number 6, focus the topic of conversation. Dr. Wolfish says it's important to keep your topic of conversation narrow. When arguing, don't mix apples with oranges. For example, when discussing finances, don't allow talk about housework and children to creep into the conversation. Stay focused on one topic at a time. Number 7 is use humor to your benefit. It is possible and even common to come across too intense or businesslike when addressing relationship issues, according to Dr. Wolfish. Instead, use humor. Humor can diffuse a rough situation and warm your partner up to you. Number 8 is demonstrate the respect you desire. Dr. Wolfish advises you to model conflict resolution skills. You can't expect your partner to be patient, courteous, and respectful unless you demonstrate the same when working out differences. Number 9, do your best to remain unbiased. It is important to position yourself as a mediator, according to Dr. Wolfish. Do not judge, blame, or take sides, but rather validate and bear strong feelings. This will teach your partner how to take turns listening, waiting, tolerating the other person's point of view as well. And lastly, number 10, encourage emotional expression. He says it's important to encourage expression of powerful feelings during hurt, sadness, anger, or embarrassment. The more you tolerate expression and emotional validation, the more willing the other person will be to engage and enjoy a healthy relationship. So this is on communication. Let's get back to the last of the 8 tips to help you to learn to trust again. Number 6, after communication, is be mindful of your relationships. Each one of your interactions works to build trust. Start tuning into these interactions and consider why someone, whether it's your new doctor, partner, coworker, whatever, might deserve your trust. Number 7, consider those you do trust and express your appreciation. Friends and family members who have always been there are easy to take for granted unless you make a conscious effort to show them your appreciation. When you have a problem, these are the people you can trust to be a support network. In addition, you can learn a lot about who, what, why, and how you trust from these relationships. And lastly, number 8, try and trust again. If you fail and resort back to distrusting tendencies, try again, trust again. Keep putting yourself out there, and you will have a better relationship with those around you of all types. Now, we understand that there are times that people have not earned your trust. Whether you give them a second chance or not is up to you. Whether you set boundaries and guidelines for them to have that chance, which is suggested, is up to you. But for the most part, for people that have not shown you any sign of distrust, shown you any reason why they wouldn't be there for you, have never let you down, please try to look at those situations with open eyes and an open heart and try to trust those people so that you can allow happiness into your heart. Mistrust is the enemy of happiness. Now, if you have a good cause and a good reason, I understand, and that's different. But if you don't trust anybody or anything, how can you be a happy person? How can you allow happiness and joy in your life? You'd walk by a garden and see a flower and think it was poisonous and not even trust it to be safe to be around. You would distrust everything in your life if you can't trust anything. So you have to be open to try. Find someone worthy of your trust. Find a new friend that shows every sign that they will do everything in their power to look out for your interest as you become deeper and closer friends. When you're in a relationship, look for signs that the person is doing everything in their power to do things for you, look out for you, that you should be trustworthy. Look for positive reasons why you can be trustworthy with a person and not for signs that you can't trust them. Look for the positive in people. Always look for the positive in life. Approach life with the chance that you can be happy, with the knowledge that you deserve to be happy. Find some reason that you're deserving, something that you're kind to someone for, that you're a good person for. Believe in yourself that you deserve to be happy and find joy in your life. Everyone deserves that. And you certainly do too. So with that in mind, we've talked about trust issues, what causes them, so 8 tips on how to get over them and trust again. We've gone over 10 communication tips to help you communicate better. Now it's up to you to decide, is it important in your life to practice these tips? And with that, until next time, have a wonderful day. Goodbye.